Hello, in this video we will discuss about the hypoxia, the low level of oxygen and cell injury. So how it is possible? Let's begin to understand the whole story. So during the environment in the cold weather, basically the photosynthesis will be limited during winter. The short day can decrease the oxygen level to cause it, and in this way, the when sun will not rise, and that is why it can not photosynthesis will be occur, and the plantation will be decreased, will lead to decrease the oxygen, where the region of the decrease of the oxygen, the exposure of the person for high exercise will lead to anaerobic respiration is known as the anaerobiosis, will lead to decrease the oxygen. After this decrease of the oxygen, in this way the carbon dioxide will be increased and the acidosis can occur, and in this way the tissue will not consume the oxygen too much, and in this way the oxygen will not consume too much, will lead to aerobic respiration occur. On the other hand, the other factors is the vehicle which that produce the smoke, which that produce the smoke is contain incomplete combustion to produce carbon monoxide, which that will bind during the inhalation, bind the tight bind with the hemoglobin carbon monoxide, with the hemoglobin rather than the carbon dioxide. In this way, the oxygen will not attach and not transposition of the oxygen from the respiratory system to the tissue. So the sleep apnea or non-ventilation in room during sleep is also lead to hypoxia. On the other hand, the heart disease like the coronary artery disease, arrhythmia, aortic stenosis and hypertrophy, which that will lead to decrease the oxygen because the less circulatory function. So in this way the oxygen when decrease it in this way the a tissue is not consuming too much oxygen, the normal oxygen, and in this way the hypoxia will be occur. The two terms, the hypoxemia are present the low level of the oxygen in the blood, while the hypoxia mean within the tissue the oxygen level will be low. Hypoxia and stress in normal cell will lead to cell injury, and the first is the reversible injury can again reverse and again repair, and this reversible injury is membrane bleeding, mitochondrial swelling, and the detachment endoplasmic reticulum, detachment of the ribosome, and the nuclear chromatin clumping. This is the reversible injury. While the irreversible injury is, let's begin to understand. Irreversible injury means the permeability will increase and the swelling of the mitochondria, dysfunction of the mitochondria. On the other hand, the phospholipid membrane damage and the lysosomal rupture, as well as the phospholipid membrane when damaged will not repair easily. On the other hand, the nuclear change can result the pycnosis, the condensation of the chromatin material, karyolysis, the nuclear parlor, and the karyorrhexis, the fragmentation of the chromatin. In this way, basically the damage will lead to apoptosis of the cell and the tissue will be damaged. Incomplete combustion also the smoking. During the smoking, the carbon monoxide will bond with the hemoglobin, will lead to tight bond. The lungs infection, respiratory distress syndrome, and there is a lot of things is involving also the dysfunction of the lungs. Thrombosis and arteriosclerosis as well as atherosclerosis also the part of the ischemia. When the thrombosis will occur, the oxygen will not dispose to the tissue. In this way, the hypoxia will occur due to the hypoxemia in the blood circulatory system. Condensation in which condition in which blood flow and thus oxygen is restricted or reduced in a part of the body. Cardiac ischemia is decreased blood flow and oxygen to the heart muscle. Anyhow, let's draw a bigger picture of the cell and contain mitochondria. So the dysfunction of the mitochondria due to the hypoxia and will lead to increase of carbon dioxide, lead to acidosis will increase in the blood. The pH will be dropped. Mitochondria will lead to oxidative phosphorylation will decrease. In this way, the oxidative phosphorylation when decrease means due to the oxygen less is hypoxia to decrease the ATP ratio ADP. So in this way, the Na sodium pump will decrease, influx of calcium increase, and water and sodium, while the potassium decrease. Anaerobic glycolysis increase will lead to glycogen depletion, lactic acid formation, and pH drop. So the acidosis will occur. pH will decrease, and the clumping formation of the cell, and the detachment of the ribosome also the part of this. So in this way, the damage of the cell, the injury is hypoxia. Let's begin to summarize it. The hypoxia will lead to ATP decrease, and sodium and water move into cell, and potassium move out of the cell. In this way, when sodium and water moves into cell and potassium move out of the cell, the osmotic pressure will increase. When osmotic pressure will increase, the water move out. When water move out, the cisternae of endoplasmic reticulum rupture and vacuoles formation. After the cisternae of endoplasmic reticulum rupture and vacuoles formation will lead to extensive vacuolation. This extensive vacuolation will lead to hydropic degradation formation will be occur. So in this way, the hypoxia, this video was about the hypoxia, the low level of oxygen in the tissue, while the hypoxemia means the low level of the oxygen in the blood circulatory system. This video is done here, and I hope you make sense about the hypoxia. This is the general overview for understanding better too.